elements: demographic, age, gender, etc., diagnostic, and stage at diagnosis, treatment and outcome to facilitate comparability across regions. And age group is divided into 5 years. This is all WHO as per WHO guidelines. This is just to show you in 2023 we have abstracted near more than 45,000 cancer patients from these various hospitals, and the next step is we cannot eliminate duplicates, we integrate data. This is just to show you one patient reported in so many hospitals. So we get information from one patient data, maybe diagnostic information, another hospital data may be treatment details. So we integrate all the data, and we should not eliminate duplicates. If one patient is reported in one hospital and the same patient reported in another hospital, we cannot eliminate that patient. We cannot, that is duplicate elimination. We integrate the information, clinical, treatment and outcome which we obtain from various hospitals. Another important task in cancer registry is, we know that our vital statistics officers, we get data, mortality data, cancer mortality data, but we don't get the specific type of cancer. We get only cancer deaths like that. So we need to, we link with our mortality data with the incidence data, because incidence data which we obtain from the various hospitals. So we know we have cancer types, data on cancer, various cancer types that is available, but mortality data, the specific type of cancer that is not obtained. So that also we need to link with the incidence data with the mortality data. In fact, like in Western countries, we don't have this unique ID. Aadhaar ID is there, but that is not collected everywhere. So linkage problem is very difficult. So now we have this, after this AI emergence, so using this fuzzy logic that is available, this is the way we link with the incidence and mortality data, and this is fuzzy logic, a similarity index. First we start the data, then so the data pre-processing, we need to make both incidence and mortality data in the same framework. So data pre-processing, then we apply fuzzy lookup, and then matching variables are our name, patient name and address, that are, so each match based on variables such as patient name, address are sorted, and then if similarity threshold is, say for example, more than or equal to 60%, then we check again. That check, we don't simply consider that patient incidence is the same as mortality. We again manually check, but threshold is similarity threshold we make it, so 60%. The reason for, we have checked whether if we can put another 50%, so in fact we don't get any similarity check. But if we put 60%, a few cases we obtain matched cases. Then other than mortality data, we get all cause mortality also. That data is also we matched, so that matching and updating process sequentially using cancer mortality and then using all cause mortality data. So this is the way we link our cancer incidence and mortality data. So we get so survival time. So population, so this way we can calculate the population based cancer survival. So this population based registry systematically collect cancer incidence and mortality data, but still we lack, so completeness is, in fact this linkage process, we are not sure this is completely linked. So missing data can compromise the reliability of survival estimates. So treating individuals with missing vital status, we can do only those cases as censored. That if still it can introduce bias, and typically if we consider those missing information as biased, so our survival estimates will be overestimated. So then complete case analysis, if we include only cases which we have only complete follow-up information, again if we, so which exclude individuals with missing follow-up data, that can markedly reduce the sample size. So again biased estimates, particularly when missingness is not completely at random. So regression based, here we did regression based multiple imputation technique to reduce bias and to improve predictive performance, representing an important methodological advance that enhances the robustness, precision and reliability of the survival analysis. So with this background information, this present results, we employ regression based multiple imputation technique to handle missing follow-up data and to estimate long-term survival. In fact, 10-year population based survival, cancer survival after imputation. This is just to show you that these are the leading cancers. Lung cancer in both Thiruvananthapuram and Kollam, lung cancer followed by oral cavity cancers, colorectal cancers, prostate and liver. These are the 5 common cancers among males, and among females breast cancer, then thyroid cancer, colorectum, corpus luteum and ovarian cancers. So in cancer registry, Pathanamthitta, in this area, Pathanamthitta and Alappuzha, in these areas also, these are the common cancers. Slightly, slight difference in the incidence rates. So for the present analysis, we have used this breast cancer data. This is C50 is the ICD code. Then a total of nearly 4,000 breast cancer patients diagnosed in this Trivandrum and Kollam district in 2012 to 2014. In these 3 years, nearly 4,000 breast cancer patients, and head and neck cancers, these tongue, mouth, pharyngeal cancers and laryngeal cancers. That is also another 3,377 head and neck cancers. These cancers survive 10-year survival estimated using this incidence data, and we have the prognostic factors that assessing the outcome. We considered age at diagnosis, then clinical extent of disease, that is indirectly that indicates the stage at diagnosis. Cancer is generally staged for stage 1, 2, 3 and 4. So from that 4th stage, 3rd and 4th are advanced stages, and stage 1 is in the localized stage. So then that is clinical extent of disease, that is an indirect measure for the prognosis assessment. And then intention to treat, that is also if the treatment intention is curative, then that also the prognosis will be better. So this is the way data linkage for for this analysis to 2012 to 14 data. So then initially all these cancer mortality data, fuzzy logic option, we linked, and then we all other cause mortality also we linked. We have I will show you the results of this, what proportion we obtained complete. So then we have for breast cancer nearly 40% lost to follow, and for head and neck cancers nearly 30% lost to follow. So first we assessed these lost follow-up cases. We assessed the pattern of missingness, whether it is really at random or completely at random or not. So that an indicator variable that was made for the missing variable vital status and survival time to determine the missingness at random or missingness is whether it is completely at random. Patients with known vital status and time, we assigned a score of 1, whereas those with the missing information were assigned a score of 0. Then chi-square test was used to evaluate the relationship between this indicator variable and the remaining variables. Then we did a Cox regression analysis then fitted to using the complete case we fitted, and we estimated the baseline hazard from the fitted model. Then for individuals with observed follow-up time T, but missingness, the conditional probability of survival that was estimated. So missingness, two different group. So we have partial follow-up and vital status is missing, and we have both survival time, follow-up time and status missing. So for group 1, we estimated the probability of occurring event T given the covariates. Covariates are age at diagnosis, clinical extent of disease and treatment intention. These three were the covariates which are the key factors for assessing the prognosis of a disease. That was calculated assuming Bernoulli distribution when both time and status missing. Survival time T was estimated from Cox model using inverse cumulative hazard function. Further, censoring time C was calculated using empirical distribution among the complete cases. So if this T is less than or equal to the C censoring time, status is assigned as 1, else 0. This is just to show you the flow diagram. This is what we did for imputation. We have taken complete set and fitted Cox proportional hazards model and estimated baseline hazard. Two different group of missingness. One is vital statistics missing and the other is both time and status missing. If in group 1 we estimated the conditional probability, and in group 2 event time T that was generated from the Cox model using inverse cumulative hazard function, and this is the way probability is more than or equal to 0.5, status is assigned as 1, otherwise 0. Here if T is greater than C, that is survival time is greater than censoring time, then we assign the status as 1, otherwise 0. Then we validated the model using k-fold cross validation where k is equal to 5. That was performed. Here also validation was also done using complete cases. One fold was masked by removing both survival time and event status. Cox model was fitted the remaining data and the masked observations were imputed as fully missing outcome. Then we evaluated performance using Kaplan-Meier curve from the imputed data. For each fold were then compared with those from the original data and agreement was quantified using Manhattan distance. Model validation, a total of 10 imputed data sets were generated. In each data set, a missing outcome were imputed sequentially using Cox model, using the complete case. Survival curves then plotted using Kaplan-Meier method for complete case, and data were missing outcome treated as censored and after multiple imputation. Cox model was separately fitted for each imputed data set, and the regression coefficients were combined using Rubin's rule, 10-year survival probability. I will show you the results. These are the distribution of the various prognostic factors. We can see that breast cancer slightly average age at diagnosis is 54 years, whereas slightly higher for head and neck cancers. And then you can see the clinical extent of disease, that is stage at diagnosis. This is localized in early stage. Disease is diagnosed in early stage. That is for breast cancer. Among these total cases, 35%, only 35% is diagnosed in localized stage. Whereas for head and neck cancers, the disease detection is less than that, even less than that of breast cancer. 26 for overall head and neck HNC is head and neck cancers. Overall, this is only 26% are diagnosed in early stage. Then coming to the follow-up status, you can see that for breast cancer in a 10-year follow-up time, so 43% died and 40% lost to follow-up. And for head and neck cancers, the picture is worse than breast cancer, because the diagnosing at early stage, we have seen that it is only less than 30%. So deaths occurred in a 10-year period, 61% death occurred, and nearly 30% lost to follow-up. So then this is the distribution of the subsites. Various head and neck cancers include mouth, tongue, pharynx and larynx. Laryngeal cancers. This is the distribution of follow-up distribution. For mouth cancers, 63% died. For tongue cancer, 59, and pharyngeal cancers, 67, and laryngeal cancers slightly better. So from this itself, the prognosis of the disease we can assess. So this is K-fold validation picture, Kaplan-Meier curve. This is complete case versus imputed folds. You can, that distance is very minimum. In the first one is breast cancer, then second is head and neck cancer, third this is mouth cancer, tongue cancer, and pharyngeal cancer and laryngeal cancers. The distance is very, this is the complete case analysis and the various imputed fold, K-fold validation. So we made a comparison of the Cox proportional hazards estimates. We can see that this first one is complete case and this is missing, considered as censored, and this is MI after multiple imputation. So we can see that this is slightly, estimates are slightly overestimated. Here also, here this 1.3, here 1.3. It is the hazard ratio compared to localized, but this, you can see that the confidence interval is narrow here, whereas when we included only less sample size, it is wider. This is again breast cancer and tongue cancer, almost similar pattern we observed. So this is pharyngeal and laryngeal cancer. And then coming to the 10-year survival, we can see that for breast cancer, 10-year, this survival is cumulative survival probability, that is 39%, and standard error is 1.06. And for head and neck cancers, when we take mouth, tongue, pharynx and larynx all together, this survival is 18%. This is 10-year survival. And mouth cancer 20, tongue cancer 21. So pharyngeal cancer, in fact, that is in a very bad prognosis. So you can see that it is 10 only, and larynx it is slightly better. So these are the cumulative survival probability. And this curve shows that the red one is after MI, then this green one is complete missing. This is the lowest curve is complete case, the middle curve is after imputation, and the sensor, when we consider all the missing the lost to follow cases, when we consider it as censored, so you can see that this shows overestimated survival. So these are the various Kaplan-Meier survival curves when we consider under these three assumptions. First topo curve is, this one is breast, this is second one is all head and neck cancers together, this is mouth, and this is tongue, and this is pharyngeal cancer, and this is larynx cancers. This is 10-year survival by clinical extent of disease. The reason why we need to diagnose the disease, detect the disease in early stage. From this itself, in all the three complete case, missing in all the three scenario, localized the stage at diagnosis is early. We can see that the survival probability is high, very high. The highest is in the localized stage. This is same for all other sites also, head and neck cancers. This is 10-year survival of head and neck cancers and 10-year survival of mouth cancer. All the same, almost similar pattern we observed for all the head and neck cancers. Mouth, tongue, then pharynx. This is laryngeal cancers. So this is all together. I put it on single table. So in conclusion, so missing data. So even with this using this AI techniques, still we get missing information, follow-up data. So simply by considering those missing data as censored, we get overestimated survival. So we need to make some statistical techniques to missing that imputation techniques. There are several techniques now. Machine learning algorithms, survival methods are available. Here we have used only one regression technique. Cox model is widely used for survival analysis, and which is one good regression model for assessing the prognostic factors. And we have data on various the key prognostic factors like clinical extent of disease and treatment intention. That is the reason we have chosen Cox regression model. And so this is this Cox model based on multiple imputation that provided reliable and accurate estimates than complete case or censored assumption based approach. So these results we made as a manuscript and submitted in Indian Journal of Medical Research. These are the references we used, and that's all. Thank you. Censored. In survival analysis, either censored or event occurred. Event censored. Event. Both time also we estimated. So two different options. One, the vital status missing, whether alive or censored, whether alive or event occurred. Event, when we first step we matched. So 40% we did not get matching. We cannot make any we cannot make any contact with the patient. So that is unethical. So we can do only this kind of linkage. We have data on incidence and data on mortality. So now this fuzzy logic of procedure, we linked with the incidence data to the mortality data to the incidence data. All cause mortality also we link. But still we have, so this 10 years follow-up time, we have 40% missing information for breast, for head and neck cancers, 30%. So when we do the survival analysis, assuming 40% as censored, we get overestimated survival, cumulative. So that is, in fact, we are giving an overestimated figures to the public. So to the medical group, we are giving an overestimated, which we should not do. So that is why we do this kind of techniques. And now we are using some machine learning survival methods are available, machine learning algorithm. We are checking the same data with that also, whether consistency is obtained. That is also we are doing it. Right.
The first case, the conditional probability is okay, we can understand how it works. In the second case, for missing survival time and the survival status,
Right.
technique is used.
That for that also we used the same Cox model. For group 2, we used Cox model using inverse cumulative hazard transformation. We obtained T, that is survival time. Then for censoring time C, that is similar using empirical distribution among the complete cases. So then if here in fact if probability if T is less than or equal to C, censoring time means 10 years.
That is okay, but the problem is when you are assessing that H0 function, because only after assessing H0 function you can apply H0 inverse. The problem is when you are assessing H0 itself, you are only using an incomplete data, and you are extrapolating it to a missing value cases. How it is valid?
No, we used imputation based on complete cases. We used complete cases.
But in case of complete cases, you assume that missingness is at random.
Not at random. That is, in fact, that is checked initially. So initially we checked missingness, whether it is random, complete, because it is not completely at random. These prognostic factors are responsible for the missingness. So that is, we obtained not completely at random. This is this chi-square value for initially we are to assess the missingness at random or not, we used chi-square test. An indicator variable is initially an indicator variable this one. Patients with an indicator variable based on this indicator chi-square result. So we observed that this is not completely at random. Factors are responsible for the outcome.
Okay. Now, please, any questions or clarification needed from both the speakers? You please ask. Two presentation very important, very relevance today. The first is on finance transaction, other is on this health condition. So please.
I now invite Professor P. Mohanachandran Nair to kindly come forward and present a token of gratitude to Dr. Eliama Matthew and Mr. Nawaz Jalaluddin.
Yes, all of you feel that the two presentations very interesting and very useful for you. Then the first presentation, Dr. Jalaluddin sir